The University of Ibadan, Nigeria's premier university, has always carried the weight of history, intellect, and national pride. Founded in 1948, it was the first university in the country, a place where brilliant minds were molded. But beneath the pride and academic rigor, University of Ibadan has also had moments of darkness, moments where confraternity rivalries bled into everyday student life. By 2002, cultism in Nigerian universities was already a national epidemic. Rival confraternities, Black Axe and Airlords, also called Eiye and others, had spread their influence deep into campus culture. Their rivalries were not limited to verbal spats. They were enforced through intimidation, street justice, and often bloody executions. Among the many stories of that era, the brutal execution of two Black Axe members, Musa and Tunde, by the Airlord confraternity stands out. It was not merely an act of revenge, it was a declaration of ownership. The Airlords wanted to prove that Ibadan was theirs, and any attempt by rivals to intimidate them would be answered with blood. By the turn of the millennium, Black Axe had carved a reputation across Nigerian campuses. They were feared for their aggression, their militaristic rituals, and their belief that they were unstoppable. In Ibadan, they sought to expand their dominance, recruiting new members and enforcing their presence through intimidation. Musa and Tunde were at the heart of this movement. Musa, a second-year sociology student, was brash and outspoken. He was known on campus not only for his fiery temper but also for his loyalty to Black Axe. He believed in showing power at every opportunity. Tunde, a quieter but more calculating figure, was a known action man. In confraternity terms, this meant he was dependable when it came to enforcing decisions, especially violent ones. Together, they formed a pair that symbolized Black Axe's confidence in Ibadan. To neutral students, they were intimidating figures. To rivals, they were trouble waiting to happen. The chain of events that led to Musa and Tunde's demise began with a single confrontation. One night in 2002, Musa and Tunde, along with a few other Black Axe members, confronted an Airlord member near one of the hostels. Accounts vary. Some say it was over a personal disagreement that escalated, others believe it was a deliberate attempt by Black Axe to intimidate the Airlords and show superiority. Whatever the case, the outcome was humiliating for the Airlord member. He was encircled, mocked, beaten, and left shaken. For Black Axe, this was a victory, proof of dominance. But for the Airlords, it was an unforgivable insult. In their ideology, no member could be disrespected without the entire confraternity responding. The Airlords immediately called a meeting. This was not just about revenge, it was about identity. To let the intimidation pass unanswered would be to admit weakness, something Airlords never tolerated. In a small, dimly lit off-campus apartment, Airlord leaders gathered. Musa and Tunde's names were written down as targets. Plans were drawn carefully. Observe, track, and strike with precision. The executions would not be random massacres. They would be statements. The Airlords wanted the entire university to understand, Ibadan was theirs. Musa's reputation for arrogance made him the first target. He often walked alone, unbothered, as if untouchable. To the Airlords, this made him vulnerable. On a humid evening, Musa was executed near the Faculty of Arts. Witnesses later described hearing loud scuffles and then silence. The attackers were swift and coordinated, machetes and axes flashing in the night. Musa tried to fight back, but the numbers overwhelmed him. By the time they were done, Musa's body lay motionless. His execution sent shockwaves across the campus even before dawn. With Musa gone, the Airlords turned their attention to Tunde. Unlike Musa, Tunde was cautious. He often moved with others and avoided unnecessary attention. But patience is a weapon, and the Airlords wielded it well. After days of observation, they found him alone near a small bar off campus. The strike was sudden. A group of Airlords cornered him, and despite his efforts to fight, the outcome was inevitable. The assault was merciless, leaving his body lifeless under the harsh Ibadan night. Tunde's death was even more symbolic. If Musa represented arrogance, Tunde represented action. By executing both, the Airlords had dismantled Black Axe's strongest symbols in Ibadan. News of Musa and Tunde's departure spread quickly. Students woke to whispers, hushed conversations, and fear-filled eyes. Parents called frantically, some rushing to withdraw their children. Lecture halls were half empty. The message from the Airlords was unmistakable. Ibadan was theirs to control. Even Black Axe members were shaken. For all their bravado, 2 of their strongest had been cut down in a matter of days. The authorities could not ignore the violence. Police patrols increased around Ibadan and raids were carried out. A few arrests were made, but as was common in those days, the legal system rarely saw cases through to conviction. Cult members had networks, sympathizers, and sometimes protection from powerful figures. Lecturers and administrators condemned the killings, but privately many admitted the problem was bigger than them. The cycle of cult violence had become too entrenched to stop with words. Even years later, the memory of Musa and Tunde's execution remains part of Ibadan's cult history. Their deaths symbolized 2 things: the futility of arrogance in the world of confraternity violence. Secondly, the Airlords' ability to impose dominance wherever they chose. To some, Musa and Tunde were tragic figures. Young men who could have built promising futures but instead became martyrs of a senseless war. To others, their demise were cautionary tales. No matter how powerful you think you are, violence always begets violence. The execution of Musa and Tunde was not just about 2 individuals, it was about the culture of conflict that consumed Nigerian campuses in the early 2000s. For educational purposes, their story teaches several lessons. Pride and intimidation breed retaliation. What began as Musa and Tunde bullying one Airlord escalated into their execution. Revenge defines cult wars. To the Airlords, silence would mean weakness. Retaliation was inevitable. Violence leaves scars. Ibadan's 2002 massacre left an atmosphere of fear, distrust, and trauma that shaped student life for years. The tragedy remains a reminder that education and violence cannot coexist. Universities are meant to mold futures, not bury them. Disclaimer: this story is written purely for educational purposes, to document and analyze historical issues of cultism in Nigerian universities. It does not glorify or promote cultism in any form. Thank you for watching.